Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and I hope wherever you're at, it's going to be just as beautiful. If you are new to my channel, we do cover War of the Vision styled content all of the time. Please do hit that subscribe button. We are trying to hit 5,000 subscribers so that I can hopefully get sponsored. Today, we're going to have a discussion about all of the frustrations that have been going on with the game, and I'm going to give my sort of take on it. So, specifically what I'm going to be addressing is I'm going to be addressing raids, I'm going to be addressing drops, and I'm going to be addressing that annoying as hell introduction video, and what we can do together as a community, excuse me, what we can do as a community to sort of come together and let GUMI know that we really want some changes. So, a lot of this comes from multiple Reddit articles. I am on the Reddit a lot. I do lurk quite often. I am not a Reddit expert, but a lot of people have been asking me to make a video about this. A lot of people have been wanting me to talk about it. And when I agree to talk about stuff that is frustrating players or that people are getting really angry about, what I promise not to do is bandwagon. So I'm not immediately going to hop on the bandwagon and hate everything and everyone and get the gungners out. What I really want to do is I just want to talk about the problems, put them in perspective, and kind of find an understanding of what the next action is that needs to be taken, and who we should be reaching out to. So why am I qualified to talk about this? Well, I am one of the biggest War of the Visions content providers on YouTube and Twitch. Not only that, I've spent the last 12 years working in retail, 9 of which was in a supervisory position, 6 of which was managing stores, and multiple stores at the same time, both in high-profile areas and in very urban, I guess you could say, settings. So let's kind of paint the perspective of what we're talking about here. So when we're talking about how GUMI is handling all of these issues, we need to take into account 3 different things. And I'm going to go ahead and read them because I wrote them down for you guys. So there are players that pay thousands and thousands of dollars to play GUMI's game. Losing one of those players is substantially more impactful than in a normal gaming situation where players are only spending $60 for a game or a $10 subscription fee. And even in situations where you are paying a $10 subscription fee for situations like Final Fantasy XIV Online, you are getting much more updates on content, you're having a community team who is much more communicative, and honestly, losing a $1,000 customer is way more impactful than losing a $10 customer. 2, you're representing someone else's brand, GUMI. So you're representing Square Enix, you're representing the Final Fantasy brand, and you're not working to actively listen or to adjust to the community. And there are a variety of reasons that this could be. It could be the relationship between Square Enix and GUMI, where Square Enix is maybe saying, hey, you don't get to have any community outreach. That's all us. We only want you to manage the game. I don't know if that's for sure, but it is a possibility. Finally, of course, good customer service will always get you further than silence. I think we really need to hear from GUMI, and we need to have someone we can reach out to and talk to. And I know this was a problem in the original Brave Exvius, and I know they solved that by getting a community person who was involved in talking to the community. We really need to get something like that in War of the Visions. And kind of along the same thread, while we're talking about painting the perspective, I don't want to paint this as entirely fire and brimstone, because as global players, we do have to recognize that GUMI has changed a lot of things for global players so that we have a smoother launch, so that we have more quality of life, so that we also have, in some situations, better banners. There's a lot of things GUMI has done that's very generous and very supportive in the community. So even though we are talking about some of the more frustrating aspects of this game right now, we do have to recognize that as a company, GUMI has actually done some really good things. And I think, for example, extending the 10 large NRG pot, fixing Miranda's AI very quickly, I think a lot of those are examples of how they've stepped in immediately, made a decision. They didn't roll out a failed product. In Brave Exvius, they did roll out a failed product quite often, and there were times where the game was unplayable for many people for weeks at a time. So we are seeing them learn, and we have seen them do some good things for us, but primarily we are going to be talking about what we're looking at right now and what's frustrating a lot of players. Now, the first thing that's frustrating people, and personally it's frustrating me a lot, is going to be the drop rates for the new Salir EX quest. It is ridiculous that the multi-drop rates have been essentially nerfed in many ways. Yes, you do still have a higher percentage chance to get a drop in multi than in single, but you're not getting 2x drops anymore, and the incentive to do multi is gone. And for a lot of players, especially free-to-play players, multi is the way that they are going to get these materials. They don't have access to the millions of large pots that I have access to. They don't have access to the large stocks of resources that many whales have. So the adjustment on the drops here, it almost feels intentional, and I think a lot of players are very frustrated about that right now. We are entering a week where there are no events besides the Salir event, and it's the only multi-quest we got, and it's probably the only time that this game has been out where we've only gotten a single multi-event, let alone just a single event rolled out. Yes, we did get the Victoria hard quest. That's only if you have Victoria. Yes, we did get the JP bonus quest, and we did get double EXP. But overall, this week is very lackluster in what's come out. And on top of that, it feels like they just halved the drop rate on the Salir multi-quest to just kind of make sure that we're still using most of our NRG, that we're still grinding, and we're basically just getting screwed, is essentially how I feel, and I know a lot of the community feels. So with that frustration, I really don't understand why GUMI's doing this, and this is probably my most frustrating thing right now. And from what I've heard, people who have sent in help tickets, they have confirmed that the drop rate is correct for this, and honestly, I think it's probably a mistake. We've had multiple times over the last couple weeks where the 2x drop rate hasn't functioned as intended for the red orb room, the yellow orb room on Saturdays. We went in on my stream one day going to farm red room, and I was informed that multi drops in multi for red room weren't doubled and that it was an error. I think it's quite possible that this could be an error as well, and that GUMI just didn't check it, or it didn't get escalated to the right people. Now let's talk about raid. And I want to paint this in perspective because I think a lot of people here just get so angry at raid because they feel like they should immediately have access to an Alexandrite ring +5. They felt like they had to grind their life away. And I do think that the raid was pretty terrible, and I did not enjoy the raid, and in fact, I only farmed 2 Alexandrite rings and the rainbow fragments, and I didn't even push past level 100. But I think to give them kudos, GUMI did change some of the things for this raid to make it better, but I don't understand why they didn't just go all the way. If you're going to be changing something and making it better and making improvements that you've seen in another version of the game, why don't you adjust it and finish the job? Why would you stop halfway and make a shitty experience half as shitty, but still shitty? It doesn't make sense to me. It's the first rollout of raid content. You want your player base to be excited, and it just is a shit show. And I don't understand why, because clearly they knew, right? Clearly GUMI knew that there was something wrong with the raid, and so they adjusted it. But why didn't they adjust it all the way? Why didn't they improve it to be a great event? It was a rollout. We had a banner for it, or we had a shop and everything for it. It doesn't make sense to me. I think some of the biggest things that you could sort of gain from this, and JP doesn't even have some of this stuff. We need filters for searching. As Darth Redness pointed out on the Reddit thread, we really need to be able to filter things. We need to be able to communicate. The emotes are not good enough for the raid to be able to communicate. And yes, I mean, you could always join my Discord and come hang out with people and run it fully. That's always a possibility. But if you're trying to run pugs, if you're just joining groups, how are people going to know that your Ryu has steal time? Unless they know, oh, that person named Ryu, like that person changed their name to Ryu has steal time. I I was in stream one night and I had someone being like, everyone kicks my Ryu out even though he has steal time. It's because they don't fucking know. There's no way to communicate. So being able to filter searching, being able to communicate, being able to fight a lower level slime seems like it would be so important. Why do you have to fight a slime that's constantly leveling up? Why can't I just go back and farm the level 6? Doesn't make sense to me. The mechanics are a little weird, and I think there's a lot of people in the community who have felt that. From what I've heard, raids in the future are going to be a little bit better. They're going to be more reward progress based on what tier you get to. But honestly, I think there's maybe a substantial problem here with how they're executing the raids. One more thing while we're talking about raids. There were missions that were supposed to come along with the raid, and we never received the missions for the raid either. So that's another thing that's a concern to me, because it's a shift from JP, and it's a shift from something that was really good and beneficial for the player to something that was not beneficial to the player. Finally, let's talk about the intro video. This, of course, was brought up on the Reddit, and I think everybody hates it, because the intro video doesn't wait for you to hit the start button. It literally starts immediately when the home screen comes up. So if you're anything like me, you're going to hit that button, and then the fucking music starts, and you're just like, what the hell is this? From a design perspective, it's very frustrating. You should be delaying the video rollout. It should be like 15 seconds on the home screen before it turns the video on. GUMI, come on, we gotta figure this out. Out of the poll down here, almost 1,000 people responded. 815 people said it's annoying. Come on, it's an easy adjustment. Not only that, it's caused so many people to crash when you rolled it out the first time. I'm sure it's probably something that came from Square Enix, where they're like, this is what we want to do. But honestly, we gotta change this. All right, so what are you gonna do? What can you do? How are we gonna solve this problem? And I think it's important to know that we do have a voice and we can change things. And I think there's a lot of people out there who feel like we don't. But if anything is proved right from Brave Exvius around issues like this, we do have a voice and we can change what people are hearing. So the first thing you can do is send in a help ticket. Go to the menu option, go to your inquiries, and send in a help ticket. And there's a lot of people who I've seen talking about this, where they're like, well, I send in a help ticket and then I just get a generalized reply. That's how a lot of companies operate. A lot of companies will not take action on any help ticket until it reaches the top 10 issues that are reported as a problem. They track every single issue, they list it and tier it, and so right now, the amount of people who have filed issues with the drop rate, probably down here. I guarantee you, once it gets to 10, it's going to be the top issue for them. Someone at GUMI is going to realize they screwed up, and it's going to be the best way to make a difference. That's how it's worked in every corporation I've been in. That's why when Karen comes in and makes a complaint, you don't get fired, because Karen's complaint is at the bottom of the list. It's not in the top 10 list. So when you do something major and you're a company, you're looking at trends, you're looking at the top complaints, file a ticket. It's the most important thing you can do. Make sure you file it right, make sure you file it under reporting bugs, and make sure you file it with the heading of drop rates broken for multi. Leave an accurate review of your opinion of the game. So what does that mean on the App Store? Do not review bomb. Leave your accurate feelings and frustrations with the game. Write a paragraph, don't just one-star it. If you're review bombing a game, everyone's going to know that it's been review bombed. They're going to be like, oh, okay, it's been review bombed, great. They're not going to know unless you tell them what's wrong, tell them what you want, and sort of list your demands, so to say. So if it's me, for example, right now, I would probably put it at 3 stars. I still enjoy the game, but there's some frustrating things for me. And that would be how I would review it. And then I would talk about what's frustrating me and why it gets 3 stars and not 1 star. Overall, you guys do have a voice, and I would encourage you all to speak up and speak out. What I wouldn't do is I wouldn't start rage threads on Reddit. what I would do is I would take practical action and I would actually push for resolution. I will be posting this video on Brave Exvius War of the Visions Twitter. I'll also be posting a link to that in the video below. If you guys all want to like and thumbs it up so that their social media team sees it as well, that's going to be a good idea as well. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope that this type of video was enlightening or helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.